The world is getting more and more dangerous. I'm sure you've seen this on the news. And we've seen also in the news that police departments are becoming more and more unmanned, unstaffed, and even though many, many police officers are there to protect and serve you, the protection part and being able to be there for you is becoming more and more rare. Pretty scary times we live in. So this video is dedicated to techniques you need to develop and practice consistently to make sure you can keep safe. 9 safety tips that literally can keep you alive. All right, take some notes. Let's go through this. Number 1 is I'm just going to classify it as online security. I don't care if we're talking about online on your computer system like I'm on right now or online on your phone. Your phones have eyes and ears. And I'm not talking about just governments, which it's clearly noted that they do listen to your phone calls. They do have videos. And this is all part of your agreement when you basically said, yeah, I agree on my phone that I'm going to use this, all the fine print. The fine print says they can give this information and keep it and use it for whatever purpose, including giving it to law enforcement who are the ones who may be the ones out to get you. I mean, again, I think local police are usually trying to help you, but you never know. And so when we see your cameras on your computers and your phones being eyes and ears, you need to realize that you probably shouldn't say certain things or mention certain things or talk about certain things in front of that. Even looking at Goshen prepping, I hate to say, sometimes we put certain videos out. I'm sure they collect metadata in which they're like, you know what, this person really watched the whole video about how I talked about how to protect yourself. They want to know those things. Not to mention GPS tracking. GPS tracking is not simply, when I found this out, by the way, on your phone, GPS tracking, you're like, oh yeah, please help me out so I know which location I'm at to be able to go to the best grocery store. But instead, they actually keep track of everywhere you go. And that same data can easily and will easily be shared with the general public. They put it for sale. All right, worst comes to worst. When it comes to online security, your friends, your so-called friends, historically speaking, have been the ones to rat you out. So when you put things on Facebook, I know a lot of you don't do Facebook, but you do things on the internet, you email your friend, etc. When we see the government turning in one direction, basically trying to control situations, you always have these people out here who are like, you know what? I'll be glad to rat out my friends and let you know that, you know what, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So keep that in mind too. Loose lips sink ships, especially when it comes to the prepping community. Now, speaking of GPS, number 2, GPS has things on there like your home address. At the very least, let's say your car's stolen. If your car's stolen and you have like a nice GPS thing on your windshield, which I know those are starting to disappear because people use them on their phones, they keep track of things like, oh, look, here's home. Let's go home. And all I have to do in your car is hit home. And there's a chance there's actually a garage door open in your car as well. It's kind of like an open book. Please come over. You might want to actually, instead of having home, just put it as an address that they may not know about. Granted, even the registration in your glove compartment tells where you live, but either way. And more importantly, I want you to understand that you can't always depend on GPS. And I'm not even talking about possibly cyber attacks. If you're against the government has the absolute ability to shut off your GPS. That is plain and clear. And so if you're not used to going certain places by the old fashioned of maps or knowing where you're at, you could be in big trouble. We become more and more dependent on things like that. Number 3, with that, your car itself is your enemy, or at least could be. I don't know if you've seen it in the news. It's been blatantly clear that they're putting kill switches in cars. And as the cars are becoming more and more sophisticated, they're making it through, like, for example, OnStar, they can literally just shut off your car if you need to. Right now they're saying it like if you miss a payment, they'll do it. But who knows in the future, it may be to the point where, you know what, you are an enemy of the state. We're going to make it so you can't drive anywhere. In fact, Ford right now has already patented a device that literally makes the car return home if you miss some payments. And understand the cars do have voice and stuff in there. So basically, if you're a bad citizen, it could conceivably make it so all they have to do is flip a switch and you look outside and there goes your car driving down the road, making it so you don't have a vehicle at all. There's a war on cars. They don't want us to have cars anyway. All right, more specifically for you. Number 4, when you're going places, I don't care if you're walking or driving, try not to keep patterns. Maybe you go out for a jog every morning and you like going the specific path. If you're in a situation in which people may be pursuing you, coming after you, etc., especially as you get closer, crap hits the fan, keeping that same path and pattern has been known to cause problems with people. So make sure you try to look for different ways, different routes, even different times to go, so that way you can literally go in the direction you need to without worrying about somebody trying to, kidnap you, for example. On that note, number 5, you also have to have situational awareness. I can't stress this enough. In fact, this could be like your number one thing, situational awareness. Put down your phone. People are always walking around on their phones, and I love situational awareness. I practice it everywhere, and I could easily go through like Walmart, and 95% of the people have no idea I'm even looking at them, seeing what's going on. They don't have any situational awareness, but you should. Specifically, when you talk about watching other people, you want to watch for what are called abnormalities or outliers. So 95% of the people have their heads down, reading bread, whatever the case may be, reading their list for their grocery shopping, and then there's that one dude who's kind of like shifty, looking around. It doesn't happen very often, but I always catch their eyes, and they're like, "Oh, he's looking at me. What's going on?" Maybe they think I'm the creepo. Maybe they watched our channel and they're basically being situational awareness for me. Maybe so. If that's the case, then a lot of times just a nod, they'll nod back, and everything's good. But we got to watch the people who are the outliers, because they're the ones that actually have caused problems. I've taught my family situational awareness, and there's been numerous times where these people will start doing things violently, and I actually saw them ahead of time waiting for that. So make sure you have that. But it's also about the surroundings too, because you also have to see what's going on in that area. I mean, Walmart, it's the land of anything goes, isn't it? But if you're actually like at a business and everybody's using, dressed in business attire, then there's this one guy wearing whatever, always look for those outliers in the situations. All right, number 6. Confidence. Confidence is huge. You need to walk around confident, shoulders up, looking around. And even if you're a frail little old person, you need to try to make it so you look as confident as possible. Why is that? Because when it comes to criminals, that's a very, very easy statistic you need to know. That criminals don't look for a target and you're looking confident, and they'll say, "Oh, you know what? It wasn't worth it. I'm just going to go home now." No. What they do is they look for a different target. If they even think for a second you're going to put up a fight, which we're going to talk about that more in a minute, then they'll simply just move on to the next target. And I mean, I don't want them to attack any target, and maybe you can help protect that target if that's the case may be. But if you walk with confidence, look around, make sure they know that everything's going on, it makes you less of a target, and they will usually move on to another target. All right. Some very clear and obvious ones. Number 7, you need to have a weapon. Boy, I could really go into all kinds of different weapons here, but the biggest problem is, as far as weapons go, I'll look at that number 8 as well. You need to be able to train and drill and do what you need to with a weapon. But back to number 7, having a weapon, there's so many different weapons. I mean, even like having a dog with you can be a weapon, having some handheld weapons. In Krav Maga, we teach that look around, everything is a weapon. Everything can be used to fight off an intruder, whatever the case may be. So practice multiple weapons. The more you practice with those, by the way, the easier it is for you to grab something you've never used before and use that as a weapon as well. But again, that is, number 8. You need to be able to practice that. You need to be well-versed, train and drill. And the biggest problem, I think, when it comes to a lot of preppers is they're like, "Watch out, I've got a gun." Do you know that a lot of laws basically say you can't brandish a gun? In other words, just wave it around, "Hey, buddy, you better back off. I've got a gun here." That's somebody who doesn't know how to use it, because all they do is they bought the gun. They're like, "I can protect myself now. Everything's happy." But you know what? When it comes time for them to actually use it, they're like, "I don't know how to use this thing, so I'll just wave it around, and hopefully that'll be enough to scare them." You're asking to get shot, killed, mugged, etc. Do not ever do that. Even if you carry one, if you've never been trained, don't brandish it. I mean, again, it's against the law. Probably all 50 states, I'm guessing. But either way, it's a bad technique. Instead, how about this? You buy the gun and then you invest your time in drilling and training tactically. I talk about this on the channel all the time. You need to tactically train, not simply just train. "Oh, I hit a paper target. That'll be perfect. Somebody invades my home." No, because you'll be moving, the criminal will be moving, your heart will be racing, they may be shooting back at you, etc. So you got to be really careful about that. Make sure you train and drill. And then finally, number 9, and this could be the most important one: fight, fight, fight. When I say this, understand that, again, they will move off to a different target. It's not about you subduing the person coming after you. There's an excellent chance, depending on the situation, you could never take that person, because they may be bigger, they may be stronger, there may be a couple of them. But what you want to do is make it so their easy prey isn't so easy. When they come after you, they want to basically do this very quickly, whatever they want to do, rob you per se. But if you continuously make it harassment and problems for them, often, and understand a lot of these guys are not organized anyway. They're simply just criminals by convenience. They go into a situation. And when you make it incredibly inconvenient by fighting in any scenario, even if they take you captive, you don't stop fighting ever. You fight with every possible thing. And their studies show that most of the time they will simply just say, this is not worth it, and they will give it up. It's not worth their while. All right, so 9 things, everybody, that you want to do as far as being safe, because we're in a time right now where things are becoming more and more dangerous and even deadly. So any other ideas that you'd have too, put them in the comments below. Always, everybody, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.